The 9 petitions that have been filed at the Supreme Court, they have to be heard and determined within 14 days. Of course, there are some preliminary processes that have to be undertaken, including surveys of the respondents for them to have an opportunity to respond, and of course for the petitioner to file something else after that response. I'm just looking at the basis of these many petitions, and you'll find that including David Kariuki Ngari is saying the basis is that the 4 commissioners who disowned results, the verification and tallying by IEBC is a responsibility of the entire commission, not the chairpersons, and the quorum of the commission when they're meeting is half of the IEBC commissioners, not anything less than that. And of course, they're also talking about that some 8.21% of votes were not tallied and verified before the final declaration was made. Then John Njoroge Kamau, in his petition, says that Chebukati again acted alone. Postponement of elections in Mombasa, Kakamega, and 4 constituency elections suppressed voter turnout and, of course, affected what would be termed as a fair process. That's according to the petition. Ballot paper, that there was non-involvement of commissioners in the printing and receiving of those ballot papers, which he says is against the law. Then also Juliana Nyokabi, Joseph Mutua, Simon Jenga, in their petitions, they are saying that again Chebukati acted alone in the final processing of the presidential election results, that not all results from the constituencies were announced at the National Tallying Center at the Bomas of Kenya. The IBC did not confirm threshold of 50% plus 1 before declaring William Ruto president-elect, and that special groups were not considered in voting procedures. For instance, hospital workers, security workers, poll workers, defense workers who are on duty during the election, and of course all the persons in the society. Helaf Khalifa raises several issues, including that Chebukati acted alone, that not all from 34 Bs were read out at the National Tallying Center, that IBC did not confirm the threshold of 50% plus 1, that IBC technology was compromised and vulnerable to infiltration, and there was no backup to electronic voter identification, obviously, on the election date, and also touches on the KPMG report that it was never made public. That is the audit report. It had some issues that were highlighting on the credibility of the voters register, never made public, never implemented, and that also there was supposed to be a meeting between the auditor, KPMG, with the Smartmatic company, the one that was responsible for the supply of technology. Issues were raised, but there was never a meeting facilitated by IEBC. So they are saying that this now touches on the credibility of the process. Goes ahead to say that there were some 487,000 duplicate records in the register that were never fully dealt with, and therefore this would pose a threat to how credible the register is. For the Okiya Omtata petition, talks about the voter turnout, that at some point, one Wafula Chebukati on August 10th declared to the country that 65.4% of voters had turned out to vote, but when it came to the final declaration, the turnout was reduced to 64.77%. He says that because of that, there appears that there are some 140,000 votes that were never included in the final tally. And based on that, therefore, if the final tally of William Ruto is as what was put by Wafula Chebukati, then it turns out to be 49.99% for Ruto, 48.37% for Raila Odinga, and therefore doesn't meet the threshold of 50% plus 1. Of course, we know there was a bit of confusion on August 10th in terms of the voter turnout. That day, Wafula Chebukati corrected himself and said that it was actually 64.6%, but obviously that was in error based on our calculations. But again, it's a question that is before court. Raila Odinga, among other issues, says that there were inconsistencies in the official reports on voter turnout, that 50% plus 1 threshold was not correct, that there was manipulation of voter turnout in the KIMS kits versus what was declared in the Form 34C, that there were some foreign nationals, the 3 Venezuelans, who had super administrative rights in accessing the system of voters, and then 19 other foreign nationals and administrator rights had administrator rights to IEBC systems, and that they could remotely access and manipulate entire IEBC data. says that there was evidence of staging that a temporary storage of Form 34 is in an external address to allow an interceptor to manipulate the forms before re-uploading them. This is what they're saying. They're also saying that they have evidence that there was hacking that was done and will be proved before a court. And of course, these are some of the bases of this petition.